Hello, Titans fans. Jake has a message for you.
Hashtag tighten up.
There you go. Actually, that was pretty good. That's the first time I've heard it said like that, and actually, that didn't sound half bad. Usually, I just don't like how that sounds, but that actually sounded okay. What's your general thought of the Titans?
Well, we have a video on our channel already titled "The Julio Jones trade makes the Titans a contender," and in that video, just gush about the Titans now with the Julio trade. So obviously, gonna get more into that today. But
hmm
yeah,
They were good before. They're even better now. All right,
mm-hmm.
you led us last time, so if you don't mind, I'll lead us in. Honestly, this team comes back to a lot of similar points, though. Um, I don't think that'll necessarily surprise people, but I don't. For the season notes, they're kind of short because it's the same guys over and over again. First thing I have to say is the tight end scheming was great on this team. I don't really think it was Jonnu Smith, but it was actually kind of the scheme itself. The thing is losing Jonnu Smith may actually look worse than it actually is because they're losing their O coordinator, who was a big fan of utilizing tight ends, and he's gone now. So they're gonna have to figure that out if they want their tight ends to still be like involved a lot. But I wouldn't say that they need to go back to that. Christian Fulton was a guy I thought should have been picked higher in the draft last year, but I didn't follow him much this last season. I saw him get one interception. I just thought I would point that out because I really do think that even though this team that ended up with kind of an entirely reworked secondary, even though it is entirely reworked, I think it's in a really good spot for next season. Tannehill puts so many balls just on the money location wise. Not really like a crazy arm or any crazy athleticism, but he does. There's not really anything he does poorly, and he does everything at least at a mid-high level. There's not much you can ask him that he can't do. Good Lord, Josh Norman covering A.J. Brown in the Bills game. That's just stupid. Why the heck is Josh Norman covering A.J. Brown? Just realize who the best player is on the field. I can't believe, and I say this later. Once again, short list today for my notes, but I can't believe that people cannot understand how much of a freak athlete number 11 for the Tennessee Titans is, while number 22 is also on the team. Like those two, arguably like the best at their position, like both of them,
Mm-hmm.
and they're on the same team. That's why. That's why us um, as fans and I guess small scale analysts. I don't know if that's what we'd be called, but
We get that title.
that's what I'm small scale, very small scale, right? Um, that's why I think we understand that like they can be one of the best teams in the league as if you have competent quarterback play and the arguably the two best players at their position on at offensive skill positions. It's going to be very hard to lose games with that running, even if we don't think the D line is too strong or the linebackers are too strong. Like the secondary though, but I don't know about you, but I personally don't think that the D line or linebackers are too strong. Then last two things. Just that the DBs really carried the defense, and I think they will this year. Even though it's going to be like almost an entirely new group of defensive backs, I think they'll carry the defense again. And Henry versus the Jacksonville Jaguars is always very fun to watch. And yeah,
Mm-hmm.
just generally, Derrick Henry is insane. Got to make sure I point that out if anyone somehow didn't know that.
Uh, yeah, that's the first thing that I wrote down is Derrick Henry is a beast. Just have to get that out of the way because if you're obligated to say that every time you talk about the Titans, and if you don't, kind of an idiot. Please get AJ Brown more targets. It just hurts my heart to see Corey Brown get some of these uh targets when AJ Brown is like 20 yards down the field more and he's also open. But Corey Davis is there. I mean, I'm glad Corey Davis had a career season. That helped him out a ton, but uh he played like it was a contract year.
Yeah,
What?
yeah, he sure did. Um, we talked about this before. I went back and watched the Titans back. Just the fact that like people are arguing about like who the best receiver in the league is, and honestly, I don't want to get into that discussion right now. But like my one thought there with what we think that AJ Brown is the best receiver in the league, we really do think that. Like I'm just going back to watch that to see how much like hate you're telling me we're getting on Twitter because you run our Twitter account. Geez, like did I misanalyze something? Did I screw up here? And then I watch it back and I'm like, nope, it's literally just no. I'm seeing it with my own eyes again. It's on film. Go look at it. He is an insane receiver, insane. So sorry for jumping in again, but I just wanted to point out.
It's fine. That's a point that needs to be made. He is insane. One thing that I noticed, they get great blocking from their running backs, whether that be Derrick Henry or McNichols, or yeah, his name's McNichols, the small receiving back that they have. That dude's plugging up holes and laying out linebackers when they're coming free. It is insane to watch him. And with that, like, because that blocking is mainly coming off play action, it is hilarious to watch them run play action because every single linebacker bites on it. Every single one does. No, it doesn't even matter if Derrick Henry's back there. They bite on it so hard. And I know that, like, you see it with, like, the Bills and other teams that are just, like, throw heavy and don't even worry about running the ball. And people still bite on it. But just the Titans, guys are, like, selling out for the run when it is not. And it is so funny to watch. The linebackers and pass rush looked very, very lackadaisical on defense for them. I did write, though, that the production from their pass rush was from the younger guys on their team, so that is good. Just the veterans on that team were not doing much of anything. And even the secondary was the strong point of that defense, but the secondary, I'm glad that they kind of had a youth purge this offseason where they got rid of the older guys in that secondary, because you're seeing guys like Malcolm Butler just screwing up plays. And it's like, dude, you're supposed to be the vet that like sets an example and is the solid player on this team, and you got 22-year-olds out here making better plays than you. So I'm glad that they're moving in that direction. For constantly swapping Derrick Henry out for McNichols, they don't throw to McNichols a lot because it's like, well, it's third down. We need to throw here. We need to get Derrick Henry out of the game because they know he can't catch. So we bring in this guy that can catch, and we're just not going to utilize him at all. And Derrick Henry finished the season with more catches and targets than him, which is stupid. It's stupid if that's your plan.
Yeah, I agree with that. Hopefully, like, some things, like, we could figure out with a new offensive coordinator, maybe, like, actually even showing that a second running back may be any bit competent for this team.
Yeah.
Because even though Henry's been insane, the past 3 years, I would eventually like to see another running back emerge on this team, like, just as a role player, even. Because right now, it doesn't even feel like a role player exists for them, at least in terms of actually having the ball in his hands to do anything.
Yeah. And then just this is just stuff that I saw in the games I was watching, not really big stuff, but in no world should Sonoris Perry ever get a carry. No world should he ever touch the ball. And he somehow did. He had one rush for 7 yards, and I was beside myself watching him get a touch. And then also have AJ Brown return kicks. He was 1 for 1 with a touchdown. So just get him back there and do it. The guy's a guaranteed touchdown, free possession. Come on.
I said that too, but yeah, no, I mean, we should probably mention that AJ Brown did return an onside kick for a touchdown, which is I mean, it's less common, but it's kind of easier if the ball lands in the right spot. But I mean, insane athlete, so obviously that was also why.
Of course.
Was that everything for your season?
Yes, that is everything for me.
Okay. For stats, I have a little bit as per usual. Tannehill, 3,800 yards, 33 touchdowns to 7 interceptions. That is a tremendous ratio. Derrick Henry, once again, rushes for 2,000 yards and 17 touchdowns. That was just on the ground. That was excluding anything he did in the passing game, which wasn't a lot, but I mean, it tacks onto it. So A.J. Brown, 70 catches, 1,075 yards, and 11 touchdowns. The funny thing is, statistically, Corey Davis doesn't look like a significant drop-off from A.J. Brown. The funny thing is if anyone goes and watches a Titans game, just watch like one full Titans game. I don't even care which one it is, because I'm pretty sure you'll be able to tell in any of them. A.J. Brown is so much better. So much better. It's not even close. But it's insane because they were statistically close. So, that's what all the nerds look at rather than going back and checking out the games. Also, I went back to your point of them needing a new kick returner because Khalif Raymond was their main guy last year. I think that I said A.J. Brown too. But this is because of your point that you brought up before. A.J. Brown's really fast. Like, A.J. Brown's good at everything, but you want to bring back the power return game. And that man runs like I would say,
like a runaway train.
He's second to none in terms of receivers running the ball like a freight train. But, Derrick Henry is a comparison on his team. So it's kind of hard to be like, he's like one small tier down in terms of his like power running ability. That would be hilarious to see on kickoffs. And I don't know if I actually want to see that, just because I really like putting an electric guy back there, but I don't know why. He just feels a little different. He would probably be good at it though. He's good at everything.
Oh yeah.
Gostkowski was 69.2% on the season making field goal wise. That is atrocious. I can understand why they're attempting to look for a new kicker. Ryan Allen had a better short-term time span than Brett Kern in terms of yards per punt, which is interesting. Won't spend too much time on this subject, but that could also be associated with things like field position, and I just thought that was funny because they're sticking with Brett Kern. Amani Hooker and Malcolm Butler both had 4 interceptions. Malcolm Butler had 14 passes defended, so even though he looked like crap to you, he did put up decent stats because they must have thrown the ball his way a decent amount. Yeah. Sorry, you can continue if you want to.
Oh no, it's just you put up great numbers like when people throw the ball at you a ton. And the thing is, when people throw the ball at you a ton, you're bound to just look stupid if you aren't very, very good at what you're doing. And Malcolm Butler was very, very good at what he was doing like 3-4 years ago. And now he's kind of washed. So
that's fair. I kind of agree with you, probably, just to be honest. But the stats. Hey, if we're going back to the stats,
the nerds love to look at Pro Football Reference and just see the numbers there, the numbers in the columns.
Corey Davis and sorry, now I'm forgetting who we're talking about. Malcolm Butler were amazing signings for the Cardinals and Jets. They will be game changers for those teams. Javon Brown had 2 forced fumbles, which led the team, so that really wasn't impressive. Harold Landry had 5.5 sacks, which led the team, also not impressive. And then this is where you can really see it. Kevin Byard, 111 tackles, led the team. Second was Malcolm Butler. A corner was second with 100. Rashaan Evans got to 96, and then another defensive back was 4th on the team in tackles. That's atrocious. Harold Landry had 10 tackles for loss. And that's everything I had. But I mean, it's just looking at those stats, you can just tell how much the defensive backs were like supposed to be the entire defense here. The funny thing is, still, it's probably going to kind of stay that way. It may improve slightly, very, very slightly. But it's asking a lot from them. And the thing is that we're just going to come back to the point over and over again.
It's the one thing on the team to harp on. Everything else we love is just like you got to keep focusing on that because that's the one glaring issue.
Let me ask you this really quick, because I think they're very top heavy. In your opinion, is this the most top heavy team we have ever seen?
Probably,
because
there's some Rams team like the Rams this year might be.
I don't think so. I think they still have more depth. Like we're gonna get to it, and I'm gonna make the point that I really like the Titans being pretty good this season, and I think people knew that already from how we started this. But the thing is that it's insane to think that really I love this team so much because of like a decent O-line, just decent, and then having a competent quarterback and just 3 superstars. Like Henry's a superstar, AJ Brown's a superstar, and Julio getting healthy, which I hope they will get him healthy, is also a superstar. Those 3, along with competence in the O-line, and honestly still, like I said, a little above average QB play, this team is scary, very scary to almost anybody. Like, this team could be anybody in the league, no doubt.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay. I think it is the most top-heavy team we've ever seen, though. I will say that straight up. Even though I like them. As for players they added this offseason in terms of free agency, for free agents, I got Bud Dupree, Jack Rabbit, Josh Reynolds, and Brian Hill. Brian Hill's the type of guy that I could actually see being that RB receiving back that maybe actually finds his way into the offense. Josh Reynolds, kind of an under-the-radar number 3 wide receiver. I like this as a sneaky pickup for them. That's cool. Bud Dupree, he
robbed him. He robbed him. I don't blame Bud Dupree. He robbed the Titans.
Yeah, no. We're here to praise the Titans mostly today, but that is probably one of the worst contracts I have ever seen given to a player ever. Just honestly, that is not getting praised no matter what. That's atrocious, and even if you're that bad on the defensive line, you cannot just overpay a player that significantly. And as for Jackrabbit, considering the fact that they have so many other guys that are young in the defensive back room now, I don't think it's a bad idea to have some fun and bring back one of the most fun defensive backs in the league in Janoris Jenkins.
Yeah, they got rid of one old corner and they brought in another. So.
I don't think he's actually.
But they also brought in more young guys too. Just signings to that. I'm just gonna go over what I have here. Bud Dupree, who robbed him blind. Jack Rabbit, Josh Reynolds, Brian Hill, Danico Autry. They got Kevin Johnson too, who is another solid-ish depth corner. They get a all-pro. Actually, I don't know if they hand out all-pros to long snappers, but I'm definitely sure Morgan Cox would have won an all-pro if they hand out all-pros to long snapper. But Pro Bowl long snapper Morgan Cox, and then of course the Julio trade.
Yeah, that's big stuff. I mean, they don't have a ton of ads, but I don't think they needed a ton of ads because of, one of them being so great.
The thing with their additions is that this is something that we've seen from bad teams is they can have a huge list of additions, but none of them are quality. These are quality additions, except Bud Dupree. Like, yeah, they needed a good pass rusher. He's a good pass rusher. Just the price tag on him was insane. It's a quality addition. Just for the price is kind of absurd.
Yes, it is a quality addition. It's overkill though in terms of the money.
Yes.
Losses. This is kind of a long list, and some people may think that we're gonna say that oh geez, they're not now because we've kind of made it clear what our thought is here already.
Mm-hmm.
But that this is a decent amount of names that we're about to come onto with these losses. But the thing is we've already pointed out, we like this roster because of the top heaviness. This is one of the few rosters that we are really worried about the depth. The thing is I guess if one guy gets injured, this could really drop the team a lot, but I'm not too worried about it right now. I mean, just not looking at the season, there's no way I can predict an injury that's going to happen, so there's no way I'm taking that into account. Adam Humphries, Corey Davis, those 2 wide receivers, one of them's replaced by Julio Jones. That's an upgrade either way. I think Josh Reynolds could be a decent replacement in the slot. I also think they picked 2 guys in the draft who are interesting prospects because they kind of can work underneath, which was different because most guys in the draft weren't really kind of the underneath receiver type, but I feel like it kind of fit their void the best for their team. So it kind of made sense to me. I didn't love either of the players, but we'll get to that later. They lost to Dory Jackson, but once again, refueled the entire secondary. Jonnu Smith is gone, but once again, I think that was mostly a scheme thing. Desmond King also getting replaced by a ton of guys in the secondary. Malcolm Butler, too, and Kenny Vaccaro also not on the team at this point in time. Steven Gostkowski's gone. And then the last two guys I got, Khalif Raymond because he's the deep threat and the kick returner, and Jadeveon Clowney because, everybody knows his name.
Yeah, that Clowney addition did squat for him last season. He was there for a couple games, and then after that, he was gone. You covered everyone that I had, so let's move to the draft.
Okay, let's do this. Let's go back and forth. Okay, for Caleb Farley, this is arguably the best corner in the draft. If his injury concerns weren't there, like if they didn't exist at all, I'm pretty sure that we would say that this is a plenty good pick, even if it was like a top 10 pick, maybe even a top 5 pick. We would be like, awesome pick. We love this guy. But just because of the injury, it drops him to 22, and I have to say it's an amazing pick there if they can keep him healthy, and I think they will. I'm confident.
Yeah, Caleb Farley is arguably the best corner in the draft because of his injuries. If he didn't have those injuries at all, I think he would be undeniably the best corner in the draft.
Okay.
And that's for my rankings. I didn't have him at 1 because of the injuries, but if he was healthy, this dude is the best corner in the draft. And I do like that the Titans have been that organization over the past couple of seasons where not so much with the lineman that they took that is now out of the league, but what was the Jeffrey Simmons? Is that the one guy's name? Yeah. That they took him. He had a torn ACL. He wasn't gonna play a whole season. They still took him. So they're taking shots on guys, hoping that their training staff and the facilities that they have available to them could get these guys healthy. And I really like betting on yourself, especially when it's as big of a home run as it can be with Caleb Farley.
Completely agree. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I had him. I can't remember exactly how I had it. I may have had Surtain in front of him, but I mean, he's right there. And they actually get another guy that was in my top 5 corners later. Or right on the outside. Man, that was so long ago that we did our rankings. I can't even remember. But the other guy they got also was right there. Dylan Redun's NDSU lineman is interesting. I'm saying I'm interested by the pick because I feel like lower school linemen, like lower level college linemen, aren't necessarily as much of a risk as lower level just players at other positions. Offensive line, for whatever reason, seems to transfer fairly well no matter what level you were playing at before, because I just feel like it's easier to scout for some reason, at least the guys that do know how to do it. And if they were willing to take him there, then I'm hoping that was the right choice, because I think, like I said, I think that it usually does transfer well, even if you were playing at a lower level, still playing on the offensive line.
Yeah, he is a very, very solid offensive lineman. I had him ranked fairly high for our O-line rankings. I like him a lot. And again, O-line play just transfers over so easily from whatever level of play you're at to the NFL. It's kind of insane.
It doesn't matter if you're D3. I mean, especially NDSU's like right there. They're playing plenty of at least decent college competition, I would say. I don't have many concerns about that at all. Monty Rice, Georgia linebacker. He plays fast and downhill, solid at stripping the football out, and he attacks the ball really well in the run game. I didn't see much of him in pass coverage, so I guess that could kind of be questionable, but seems like a decent run defender, and honestly, that just may be what this team needs, because it doesn't seem like they have anybody that's just eating up tackles at the linebacker position right now, which isn't necessarily something that you always strive for, but geez, with how many tackles their defensive backs have been having to make, I think they wouldn't mind having a guy in the middle that could do that.
Yeah, he was sitting inside my top 15 for linebackers. The reason I didn't have him higher on my list is because the lack of turnover production from him. He does drop back into pass coverage, but he just doesn't get any. I don't think he had a single intercept. He had 1 interception in his college career, which, looking at that, it's kind of iffy. But he, like you said, he plays downhill and he hits hard, man. Uh, yeah, just plays fast and hard. And that's what the Titans need. They need a guy that's just going to rack up tackles there and not have to force corners and safeties to have 100 tackle seasons.
Yeah, absolutely. Elijah Molden, next guy. This is who I was talking about earlier. He's a lockdown nickel. This is a starting position. Credit to the Titans for figuring their nickel out. Basically all the traits you want in your nickel. And apparently back when we were talking about corners, I was completely wrong to think that people valued their nickels highly. Because they don't. Because this guy's a 4th rounder, apparently. Which just seems absolutely ridiculous to me, considering his talent. But I guess people would just prefer to get outside corners instead. That's all it comes down to, I guess. But really, if you're looking at most defenses nowadays, I feel like a nickel is on the field more often than your base package number of linebackers. At least that's how I feel. I haven't looked at the numbers on it, but it sure feels that way. And this guy can do a little bit of everything. When the Titans lost Logan Ryan a few years ago, I was like, this is bad, because he was so good for them, and he kind of played that role / strong safety. I don't know. It's kind of in between. It's kind of hard to tell sometimes because they feel interchangeable in some defenses. But I couldn't believe that the Titans let him go after the time they did. And then he went to the Giants and he continued playing well, and he's still one of the most underrated players in the league. I'm glad they're finally filling that position in, because I think this guy's a very good player, and I think he's a steal in the 4th round.
Yeah, he is a lockdown nickel. Jack of all trades, does it all. I'm very shocked that he fell this far in the draft. I was right there with you. Like, the nickel corner position is a starting position in the NFL, and until teams start to realize that, it's going to be tough sailing for them against these pass-heavy teams. Just if you're throwing some guy that barely made the roster out there to play nickel because, oh, well, we need to have someone out there, it's going to be really, really tough. And the Titans, I mean, I credit them for taking Elijah Molden, but just him falling this far, I mean,
yeah,
it's wow.
Yeah, I mean, we don't understand that NFL GMs apparently don't think the way that we do. The other, and I feel like they should. I don't think what we're saying is completely outlandish. The other thing that is interesting that you could really make the argument for also is that a lot of teams, when you go up against their passing game specifically, not how they run the ball or anything, but specifically their passing game, the biggest threat in a lot of teams' passing game comes out of the slot a lot, right? It's what happens nowadays. So why would we value outside corner more when that means usually you'll have to throw the ball further to get it there? So, I don't know, you should have more reaction time or ability to recover or need a better throw or something like that. When the easier throw, and also where the best receiver is kind of lining up most of the time now for a lot of teams, why are we valuing outside corner more than slot? I don't know. I just don't like it. Probably should move on, but just weird.
Yeah, that's enough talk about a nickel corner. Let's move to the obligatory wide receiver pick, even though that they had 2.
Yeah, so Des Fitzpatrick, I'll say this guy seems like you kind of took him a bit early, but the one thing I said earlier that I like about it is he's kind of like a good short route running receiver, and kind of almost what I want them to work on is finding a guy to be third to Julio and AJ that's literally just going to work underneath, because I don't think the third guy needs to be able to go deep or anything, because Julio and AJ can just trade off like deep routes every once in a while, or enough to just keep the defense honest and or actually burn a guy deep, whatever. And I think they have plenty of talent to do that. So I think finding the third receiver is really important there, that can work underneath, and that could be Josh Reynolds, that could be Des Fitzpatrick here, or I'll include this guy in the conversation. Sorry if you wanted to have him separately. In the 6th round, they go Racey McMath, who also seemed like he was a good short route runner. And the only thing I had to say about him was that he was interesting. He just lacked film, and I also think that he was an opt-out based off what I saw.
He wasn't. He was not an opt-out. I did a little looking into him.
Cool.
He played all 6 games that LSU was in, but produced basically nothing. So that's why very little film on him for 2020.
That's interesting. So what did you think of these two guys at
Uh,
the receiver position?
I mean, well, let's start with Des Fitzpatrick. I do agree with you. Very good short route runner. I said that I wrote that that's what the Titans need. They need a guy that can find the soft spots underneath if they're going to have AJ Brown and Julio, who are just trying to extend the defense as much as they can. Have a guy that can just find the little soft spot in between the linebackers. That's great for them. But I just found it funny. They take two wide receivers. They also get Josh Reynolds in free agency, and then I think they were like, "All right, we got this is going to be our core." And then Julio becomes available. They're like, "Well, we got to get him now." So I think they wasted one of these picks on a wide receiver. I don't know which one it is. Yeah, I don't know who exactly I think would be better there that was still available, but one of these picks they wasted on a wide receiver. And I'm just going to say Racey McMath because he's the later guy. And the only real note on him was I had to look forever to find some 2020 film on him, and it was not good. Like it's film of him like getting off on his routes and not no one throwing the ball to him. It's like it's nothing.
Yeah, that doesn't sound too exciting. That's not good to hear. I definitely agree with your sentiment after realizing that he did play in 2020. That's a yikes thing. Luckily, It's only a 6th-round pick, so we won't kill it too much.
Yeah.
Rashad Weaver, the Pitt defensive end, first off, strip sacks, yum, 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 swats balls down at the line of scrimmage like J.J. Watt does. And, of course, he's tenacious. He's from Pitt. There's no way that we are not going to like this pick.
Yeah, the first clip that I saw, like it said Pitt on like the title for the video and everything. I'm just not thinking, but they're in their gray jerseys, and I was like, what school is this? And I'm not looking at the ticker or anything score. I'm just focused. I'm like, what school is this? And then they say Pitt, and I'm like, oh, all right. So I'm just going to enjoy this. So I leaned back and just enjoyed the ride at that point, because anyone that plays defense for Pitt, it should be an immediate 1st-round pick in my book. I don't know why these guys are falling to the later rounds here. Just Pitt's defense, just the first like 11 picks. Every starter from Pitt's defense.
I love it. Yeah, no, I mean, totally agree. But you liked him too, because
Yeah, he has great get off. Goes for the ball a lot. Strip sacks are amazing. Yeah, that. He's a Pitt defensive lineman. They make him tough.
I'm wondering if this is gonna hold up for years to come. We're hoping to continue this this discussion format show for a long time, right? I'm really wondering how we're gonna feel about future Pitt defenses, because this draft class has been absolutely insane, specifically for
it's been
that
a treat.
team. Yeah. And we haven't knocked one guy on it yet, which is the weirdest part.
I have not seen one bad defensive player from Pitt.
Actually, the only thing we have is like character trait issues, which another one came out the other day, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we'll stay away from that. But that's the only problem with Pitt defenders. They're so fierce that they forget to not be fierce on the football field. They're not supposed to be. Last guy that we got to touch. Also, Brady Breeze, your man. You bring his name up a lot. These are, I didn't realize though, I didn't say this before because we were talking about the receivers, but Brady Breeze and Racey McMath, 6th-round picks have to have awesome names apparently to go to the Titans. Those are dope names. But yeah, Brady Breeze, all I really said, I didn't watch him before, by the way. I still thought he was a different guy. I'm getting all of the Oregon defensive backs confused because he's white, and I don't remember watching a single white Oregon defensive back before. So I just said it's Dan Sorensen's younger self.
Wow. Didn't even watch that much Brady Breeze. Let me tell you, Titans fans, this is what you're getting at Brady Breeze. You're getting a special team stud. The dude is out here blocking punts, blocking field goals, bringing them back for touchdowns, and then still has the audacity to be able to go out there at safety, starting safety, get some picks too, and he follows his blocks really well. It looks like a running back out there. I love Brady Breeze. He should be a very solid third safety for the Titans.
A very solid third safety.
Well, he's not gonna start. They already have their two safeties. He's not gonna start. I do
Oh my
expect him to block
gosh.
some punts though.
That's very funny. Yeah, maybe he will. You know who also was pretty decent on special teams, a decent amount?
Who
Dan
would that be?
Sorensen.
He's not Dirty Dan.
No, he's not, but I mean he doesn't see like he seems like he's kind of we shouldn't talk about him this long. But to be fair, he does seem like he's like just the type of guy that can do a little bit of everything, but he's never going to be like the type of guy that's like, "Oh wow, look at this awesome thing we have." Like no, it's just that's him, that's who he is, and that's Dan Sorensen.
Oh, geez. All right. Let's move to the schedule. We've already wasted a bunch of time here talking about random stuff.
Yeah. Okay, so I got first ups today.
Of course.
These idiots at freaking Las Vegas or wherever they are, whatever we're saying, 9.5 wins. Scoff. Yeah, no. So the schedule is weird for me. I'll get to why at the end, I guess, but I'll just go through and I'll tell you how I feel. Um, Arizona Cardinals, week 1. I feel like that's a W. I also feel like at Seattle, week 2 is a W. Indianapolis, week 3, I feel like that's a W. And what slowly happens here is that I feel like the advantage, once again, it's all about that top heavy roster. It really is. It's not about the depth on this team. You can argue that those first 3 teams have better depth than the Titans. I just think that offense, the top pieces of that offense is going to be so strong, it's going to be very hard to beat them. I don't see many people being able to do it, but it'll probably happen at least a few times this season, and that's basically the same opinion for all 3 of those first games. Then we get on a 2-game stretch here where they actually probably, even if you look at the roster as a whole, they have a better roster than these next 2 teams. At the New York Jets and at the Jacksonville Jaguars, I feel like their team is actually better, so I don't think it's as ridiculous to just blatantly say that these 2 should probably be W's for them. Probably. Buffalo Bills, Monday, October 18th, Monday Night Football. This will be a fun Monday Night Football game for I hope fans around the league. Us as Bills fans definitely going to be excited for this one leading into it. However, if it goes how I potentially see it going, it will not be fun as Bills fans, because I still think that the Titans really do have a lot of things that kind of make it a tough out for the Bills. First off, the Titans killed us last year, and they barely even used Derrick Henry. If they get that monster going against us when we haven't figured out the run yet, I'm guessing that would be very hard to stop. Also, I hate to say this, but we really don't have a second superstar corner. I don't want to be mean to any of the guys on our team, but we got one guy who's pretty lock up. The other side, no matter who it is that's playing on our roster, I love all our guys, but no matter who it is, we don't have it. And that's going to make this pretty hard to stop, especially if they decide that Julio's the number 1 receiver and they decide that they're going to put our number 2 corner on AJ again. They'll just look like idiots. Maybe with our safeties it'll be able to help, but I don't think so. And I think that the defensive backs may get lucky enough like they did last year to force some lucky turnovers against Allen. I don't think Allen will be crazy throwing picks this year, but if there's one game that I'm worried about for the Bills in the season, like to really look bad and just kind of be embarrassed by looking bad in it'll be against the Titans. If we get whooped by the Chiefs or Bucks, okay, but I mean, I feel like we could really get embarrassed by the Titans, so I'm giving the dub to the Titans there. Next week, they play Kansas City. I'll say I did have to give them some L's. I don't really feel like sending them 17-0. So one of the teams that I thought wasn't very unfair to say was an L was against Kansas City. Obviously an amazing team. They fixed their glaring weakness in their offensive line, so that seems like seems like this team is kind of in a good position no matter what position you're looking at, especially in terms of having the best quarterback in the league, which will always give you a chance, not to mention the roster behind him and coaching is also incredible. So that's their first loss, not until October 24th, though, so that's good. Then on Halloween, they play at the Colts. Once again, like them against the Colts. I already gave them one win against the Colts. I think they'll get two. I don't think that this will be that crazy of an opinion. Maybe it will. We talked about the Colts before, and I gave them two losses to the Titans. So maybe if you haven't seen it, our other videos on the Colts, then you would be more like, really? You're just going to say two W's against the Colts? For now, I really do think that they should beat them twice. At Los Angeles Rams, this is the other game where I think they could get beat by a better roster. This roster is better. They have Jalen Ramsey, who, even though, we're not going to say we love because, he's an interesting guy and he's just kind of fun sometimes, but definitely like him more on the Rams than I did on the Jags. But
Oh yeah.
he's a great number one. He's a great number one corner, and I feel like with how their defense plays, they can get some stuff done to help out with the other guy that Jalen is not covering, and then at least slow down the Titans enough where the Rams can score more points than the Titans, and maybe actually make the Titans look bad in a game this season. They play New Orleans the next week. Gotta be honest, I'm really interested to see how New Orleans looks this season, but I don't think that either of the QBs that would be starting for the Saints are going to give them much of a chance against this team. I think this team puts up too many points. I think if Taysom's playing, they don't put up enough points. And I think if Jameis is playing, they probably have one turnover too many. Even if that is only one turnover, that's one turnover too many. That could lose them the game. So still going with the Titans strong here. They play the Texans the following week. Texans, very bad team. That's another W. New England Patriots. Do think the Patriots will be looking good at this point in the season, but for whatever reason, former Patriots coaches kind of can have Belichick's number, and Mike Vrabel, still the head coach of the Tennessee Titans, also Vrabel, kind of a defensive guy, right? So he'll work the defense. They still have all the weapons on offense. They may beat the Patriots by multiple scores. Jacksonville, again, they have a bye in between this. Coming off a bye to play Jacksonville, that's probably not fair in terms of the rosters that those teams have assembled. Honestly, that should be a fairly easy W. At Pittsburgh, next game, almost through the schedule now. We don't like Pittsburgh. I'll just say that. No. W. Then the following week, this could be a game of the year candidate. This could easily be a game of the year candidate. It's just how much this game matters to the two teams that are playing it, because they could really already be set up to be in a really solid position. It's in Nissan Stadium in Nashville. I don't entirely know how to feel. I feel like there's enough changeover with the Niners that it's going to be harder for the Niners to not 2 years ago. Go back and look at what they did 2 years ago, not last year, because that was just injury plagued. But I feel like it's going to be hard for them to maintain that level of success on defense. And once again, the secondary's not quite there, and they lost Saleh. I don't think that makes this team terrible. I think this team is still going to be plenty competitive. But I think it's just enough in this game, also giving the Titans home field advantage, that they get the W there. Then they have Miami. Miami may just be like freaking out at this point because they realize, hey, we got to move on from Tua. And we like Miami's roster, but if they don't have a quarterback to keep up with the Titans, then we don't give them any chance. W for Tennessee. And finally, they finish up with the Texans, who they are still a significantly better roster than. My final thought here is I don't know how great I feel about this happening, because this team has slipped up before. Not as much as poorly coached teams that seemingly like to slip up all the time, like maybe the Chargers or the Cardinals last season. But twice a year, 3 times a year, they'll slip down to their competition and be in games that shouldn't be that competitive. The thing is I don't know which games I want to choose them. I really want to choose them to slip up in. And I still think they're the better team 15 out of 17 games. I don't know how many they may choose to slip up in, but if they don't slip up at all, then I think they're probably a 15-2 team because, I mean, even you just can't play perfect. You can't play perfect. So,
Yeah.
I mean, when I say slip up, I mean major slip up. But if they play at a very high level all season, they could go as good as 15-2. And that's what I'm predicting because I don't really know where else I want to go against them. Because even though they could lose games, like games against the 49ers, a game against New England if New England plays really well, a game against New Orleans, I just still don't feel confident like picking the other team straight up against them. Maybe Buffalo, but it could just be me trying to protect myself against the bias. Like, I don't feel confident picking the other team in any of those games, so why would I?
Yeah. I'll get into it for me, but I think the two games that they slip up in, it's going to be in a streak, is what I think.
Okay.
Starting off, week 1, Arizona. They're a better roster than Arizona, not depth wise, but the guys that are going to be on the field, they're better than the guys that are going to be on the field for Arizona. At Seattle, I don't think Seattle is that great of a team or is going to be as great as everyone's touting them as. I think that's going to be a win. Home against Indy, I think they're going to win that one. Just what we said about Indy not being great. It's a good team. It's just the transition from Rivers to Wentz, I think, is going to be a little bit more drastic than what it was when they brought Rivers in last season. And then at the Jets and at the Jags, like they got such luck with their schedule. Like they played the Jags twice and they play the Texans twice, and then they also get the Jets thrown in there too. It's a joke.
It is. Especially as a team that was a division winner last season, it is. It is really a joke. You're right. Getting 5 games like that, that's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. I don't want to say guaranteed wins because no win's guaranteed, but those teams are as close as you can get to guaranteed wins. Like they're very, very
I'd
down.
say Jacksonville's a little better, but yeah, the other two absolutely.
Mm-hmm. And then this is the one game that I think you could pick them to lose here is the Bills game. I gave them the win. Just like I don't want to be a homer. That's the main thing. But also, the Bills don't have a number 2 corner. Like, who are you going to put against either A.J. Brown or Julio Jones? Like, I like Levi Wallace. Levi Wallace, he didn't play in the Titans game the last year. He didn't play in that game. That's why Josh Norman was guarding A.J. Brown.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter, though. Like, Levi Wallace is younger, more athletic Josh Norman, I guess. Like, they're kind of the same. He's not like going to be a superstar like Josh Norman was when he was younger, but if you took like how Josh Norman played last season and made him a little bit faster and like aged him down like
lankier
4 or 5, yeah, it's the same guy. So
I don't know. I'm sorry, I have to jump in here. I don't know if I love that comparison. I don't really...
just for Titans fans' sake. I know for Bills fans you can argue that, but just like that's going to be the guy that's going up against one of your receivers.
Yeah, quality of corner. I guess you're right. It's still the same quality.
Mm-hmm. And then the first actual loss. Well, first loss is going to be against Kansas City. I just don't feel great about giving them a win there. I wanted to. Don't feel great about it just because they haven't proven that they can beat KC without Alex Smith being the starting quarterback. So, gave them the L there. And then at Indy, they always have a tough time with Indy, man. Just every year, have a tough time with Indy. So I gave them the L here and then this puts them on a streak of 3 because just like you, I gave them a loss to the Rams at LA. Because if there's any teams that can really give them trouble, LA's one of them, and having to travel the other side of the country. Not that that's really... for Tennessee, it's a far trip. Play them. I think that's going to be a tough game. And then the other game, because I think the Bills at the start of that 3-game losing streak, that could be one of the games that they slip up and lose. the end of it, that Saints game is one that I think they can slip up and lose to, especially if these 3 losses have already happened. I think that's one that they could just be down on themselves in going into. No matter who the QB is there, I think that that could be an L, but I gave them the win. Like you said, if Taysom's the QB there, I don't think they're putting up enough points. If Jameis is the QB, he's probably going to turn the ball over too much for them to even stay competitive in that game. Yeah. Or even if he turns it over once, that's all the Titans need. They have the ability to be able to score every single drive. And if Jameis turns it over once, that gives up the one opportunity that they had to keep matching him.
Yeah, they definitely still have a chance in that game, though, too. You're right. It's just really, it's like there's kind of limiting factors that make it kind of hard for them. I really should say, though, since I've mentioned my birthday so much in this, I should really say thank you to the NFL schedule makers for actually giving me a Sunday night game on my birthday that I will be really excited to watch. Titans at Rams will be an awesome game. Sorry for backtracking another week, but that will be an awesome game.
Yeah. I just find it funny because, like, I don't know if I consider Michael Thomas a top 5 receiver. I'd have to do like some more searching that's not on the fly for this, but he's up there. He's one of the better receivers in the NFL. So, as do I think with AJ Brown. Alvin Kamara is a top 5 running back in the NFL. So is Derrick Henry. And it's just funny, like the only differentiator in that for their offenses is who's going to be at quarterback. So I don't know.
Played pretty well.
Yeah, if one of Taysom or Jameis ends up playing out of their mind, like above Tannehill level at that point in the season, that game might not be close. But I highly doubt that one of them could get to that level.
Maybe that's their slip-up game.
Yeah. And then, I don't need to do any explaining for this Houston game. They're going to beat Houston. At New England, just anyone that has ever been under Belichick has his number, man. I don't know what it is. I don't know if he has like a course that he puts them through, be like, this is how to beat me in order to still have a job. Like, not that Vrabel needs that course because Vrabel's an actual good coach. But Matt Patricia, just like, if you want to still have your job, here's how to beat me once every 3 seasons, and then you'll still be getting paid.
Yeah. You're right. You're a history buff, right? Right?
Oh, yeah.
You would say so, at least.
Oh, yeah.
Have you ever considered reading The Art of War?
Yeah, a couple times.
I've considered picking up the audiobook. I haven't sat down to it yet, but Belichick, always going back to it. But at the same time, I feel like I know the principles of it really well, so I don't know how deep I would get into that book without to really extract like extra information, especially in terms of like reading it not actually for war, like kind of for outside different reasons. So it would be interesting, but I just everybody just digging into that book the week they play Belichick.
Oh yeah. Then they go in their bye week, and then these next 2 games, Jacksonville, that's going to be a win, and then Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh just looks like a joke of a team at this point. Just looks like a joke of a team. It's for where they were last season. They just look like they're going to be a joke.
San Fran Saturday, at least I think Pittsburgh's the next team. Just
yeah.
If you've watched this far, I feel like you got to be watching the Pittsburgh episode too. You better be.
And then San Fran. If San Fran loses 1 game all season, it's going to be this game, and I think that's what's going to happen. If San Fran loses 1 game all season, I think it's going to be against the Titans. So I gave them the win. Miami, I think they could be in turmoil. Jacoby Brissett could be their starting quarterback at this point in the season, but I think he gives them a better chance to win games than if Tua's there. So I think they get a win against Miami, and then Logan Woodside pulls out the win at Houston for them.
That's good. That's really interesting, the Niners thing. You said that initially, and I was like, whoa. And then I was like, wait, the Niners were a 4th place team in their division, so that will make their schedule significantly easier. So yeah, I guess that could happen. That would be wild, especially if what you're saying. You had how many losses did you have them total?
3, 14-3.
So you have 14-3. I have 15-2. And once they get to the Niners game, they've already lost all the games that we predict they'll lose. So that would be a really fun game to go into. That's 3 games left, which means that they're 14 games in, because this will be the 15th game. It means they're either
Mm-hmm.
12-2 or 11-3 going against the potentially 14-0 Niners if the Niners have an absolutely tremendous season. Which I don't know if I'm as ready to say 14-0 at that point. I think they'll have a really good record, though. That's going to be a very exciting game. And like I already said with the game on my birthday, Titans games are definitely going to be some of the games I am most excited to watch. But we are way hammering the over, are we not?
Oh yes, very much. Put your entire life savings on it.
Yeah, don't actually do that, because I don't want to be in trouble if somebody does that. But at the same time, this is one I feel pretty confident in. I will say
Mm-hmm.
I'm worried about slip-up games.
Oh yes.
There's I don't know why this team just likes to slip up a few times a year, few times.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, it's not terrible like other teams do it, but they'll do it a little bit, and hopefully it doesn't happen too much, because if it doesn't, they're going to be a very scary team.
Yeah, if they always play where they're supposed to be playing and don't play down to their competition at all, they're going to be a very, very scary team. And I think 14 wins should be like expected. At least something like that. Around at least 13. I think 13 wins should be expected for them.
I would agree with 13 being expected. I'm predicting 15, just because it's very hard to predict every single team,
Mm-hmm.
and like actually like pick them game by game too while doing it. You can just throw a number up. Probably would pick 13 if I was just throwing a number up because of what I said. But I feel like 13 is very, very attainable for this team. Very
Oh yeah.
attainable.
Yep.
I once again, I'm just scared. I don't know what games it's going to be that they'll mess around in, but I feel like it will happen, and that's kind of going to ruin my prediction. But I don't know which ones it's going to be. Yeah. Any other thoughts, really?
Nope. I think we cut this here.